My first tip is to help you understand how respawn and the respawn timer work. Players in this mode have infinite respawns, but they have to wait 20 seconds after dying each time. You can see this timer on the UI right next to the teammate's name. During this time, you can revive the eliminated teammate, but if that's not possible, then they're just gonna have to wait the full 20 seconds to respawn. One of the biggest mistakes I see players make is rushing into battle when they're the last teammate alive. If you do this and cause a team wipe, your entire team will have their respawn timer reset regardless of how much time they had left on their individual respawn timer, which means your entire team is gonna have to wait longer before getting back into the game. So if you're the last member of your team alive and it's unsafe to revive your teammates, it's usually best to just hide and play it safe and wait for your teammates to respawn so you don't cause the timer to reset, potentially keeping your team out of action for an entire minute. Tip number 2 is about timing your attack when another team is making a deposit. When a deposit is made and the cashing out phase begins, the timer does not reset when another team steals the cash, it just keeps going. This is so important to remember because you can literally defend the cash out station for 95% of its duration, but it only takes one successful theft by another team for them to take the credit. So you can just allow other teams to start the cash out phase and let them fight it out to make each other weaker. You can then decide when is the right time for your team to enter the fight to make sure you can not only steal the cash, but also have enough time to set up gadgets properly to defend the station until the timer runs out. Tip number 3 is using the environment to your advantage. In the finals, almost everything in the environment can be destroyed except ground level and a few traversal platforms. So basically, if something is visible, chances are you can destroy it. For heavy builds, using explosives and the charge and slam ability can create quick shortcuts through large structures. And speaking of charge and slam, I didn't notice until very recently, but it isn't just about charging, it also allows you to slam into the ground if you use it while jumping. This can be a quick way to move between different levels without using explosives. It's also an excellent ability to get away from other players. Activating it near multi-level buildings can confuse your opponents with the destruction it causes, making it harder for them to track your movements. Also, using destructible environments can be a tactical advantage at cash out stations. So instead of you going to the guarded stations, you can manipulate the environment by using explosives to bring the cash out station and the enemies down to your level. You can also do this to interrupt opponents while they're stealing the cash, which can buy your team precious time to defend the station. The next tip is about using carryable hazardous items like explosive barrels, poison cylinders, and more. And here's the cool trick. You can attach C4 to these carryable items, which lets you throw it at a greater distance with additional effects. This deadly combo inflicts not only damage from the C4 explosion, but also the effects of the hazardous item. For example, if you attach C4 to a flame cylinder, throw it and set off your C4 at the right time, you will cause explosion damage as well as fire damage, which ends up being a lot of damage. You can easily clear a couple of light and medium characters using this combination. This tactic is becoming more and more popular as players get to know and understand the game better, so it's really worth mastering it now to stay ahead of the game. This last tip is so ridiculous and obvious, and I can't believe I didn't know about it until recently, and that is to make sure you change and customize the reserve items to your liking. For some weird reason, I thought you can only have one gun in your reserves, which is totally incorrect. You can have any combination of reserve items and guns that you want. So for example, you could have 4 different guns for one build, and for another, you can just have different gadgets and throwables. I typically use this now to make sure I have at least one gun that I can use successfully without having to ADS, so that I can deal with players who keep stunning me. Now here's a quick bonus tip for those of you who stuck around to the end of the video. Thank you very much. Please like and subscribe. If you're the last alive member of your team and you have the vault, it's almost always better to defend it instead of carrying it to the cash out station and starting the cash out phase by yourself. Because most of the time, other teams will be either chasing you to get the vault, which means they'll kill you, and therefore your entire team will have their respawn timer reset, or they'll be smart waiting for you at the station that you're going to so they can ambush you, which again means you will die, resetting the timer for everyone on your team. So instead, you're better off either just defending the vault where it is, and if you can't do that because it's not safe, then just leave it and let another team take the vault to start the cash out phase. By doing this, you will allow your teammates to respawn near you, which means you might end up giving your team an upper hand to capture and hold the station because the other two teams have been fighting and making each other weak. Thank you for watching, and I hope these tips and tricks were helpful. If you know of any other tips, please share it in the comments section so I can also use them when I'm playing. I'm sure other people watching the video and reading the comments will also appreciate it. Thanks again, and see you later.